Hello everyone and welcome to a new Let's Play of Hearts of Iron 4 World Ablaze with me, Omega, and Kingdom of Sweden. I think it's fair to start with a couple of warnings to get them off the table so that we can focus on the game. First of all, this is a second playthrough of Sweden. We've already finished one during the First World War using the Great War mod, and while I understand if you don't want to watch that one first, I strongly suggest you do so. The link is in the description because it's gonna give you quite a lot of context for what we're doing here, the experience that we are going to utilize, and the basis that we are building upon. Second warning, I use the first episode always to lay out the ground, speak a bit about the country that we're going to play, show what the historical path of the country was, explain what we're going to do different, and then see where the game puts us. Investigate what kind of things we have at our disposal, make a plan about how we're going to utilize that, and so on and so on and so on. So while this episode is fairly long, it is going to be dedicated to that and not to actually playing the game. Again, context is the key to most of the things in this game, which is why I'm doing this. But if you prefer to see the gameplay instead of hearing the context, skip to the next episode. You have been warned. Third thing pertains to the mod that we are using here. Now, many of you know that I am a big fan of Black Ice. I love that mod, but as it is in a sort of a testing phase right now to see if it has been properly prepared for this version of Hearts of Iron 4, I have decided to go with another mod that I really like, which is World Ablaze. World Ablaze is an expansion of all of the aspects of vanilla, and while they call it a total overhaul mod as well, I see it more as an expansion because it refines a lot of the mechanics, adds a couple of fun new mechanics, and gives you a number of additional options and paths. However, that is why I'm including this in the warning part of the introduction. Warning part of the introduction. That sounds weird, but this is it. World Ablaze gives you a lot of additional ahistorical paths that I had never seen them happen, to be quite honest, but that can happen. One of those, for example, is that the Germany can decide to get rid of Hitler and then go either democratic or back to the Kaiser regime. So I'm hoping that we're not going to see that because what we're going to do here is based on a historical path through the history. But again, it is a fair warning, and after what happened in the First World War to us, I'm hoping that we are going to have less of that in this playthrough and we will stick more to the history. But again, whatever happens. I'm not going to affect anything in the game outside of what you will see me do, and I do not intend to manipulate the playthrough in any way, again, apart from doing whatever we can with Sweden. So what happened to Sweden historically? Well, Sweden was in a bit of a pickle during the Second World War. The same way it stayed neutral during the First World Wars, Sweden followed the same path during the Second World War, declaring neutrality right when Germany invaded Poland and was declared war upon by United Kingdom and France. But they had to change this position slightly throughout the entire conflict. Now, Sweden has seen the Baltic and the Scandinavian region always as a playground for the Soviet Union or Russia before that, and German Reich or German country in various forms before that, and they kind of wanted to let them wrestle it out because that made it so that they remained safe. However, when Soviet Union invaded Finland in 1940, they, even though they were considered neutral, declared themselves non-belligerent and starting greatly supporting Finland. They were sending weapons, clothes, medicine, and I found some information that even a contingent of volunteers joined Finland, as well as an entire air wing of Sweden, even though it was flying under Finnish colors. So Sweden pretty much got involved in fighting Soviet Union, and that put them a bit deeper into the German camp. Wow, that sounded, into the political alliance with Germany. Let's not speak about camps here. Second thing that greatly influenced Swedish politics was the mess with Denmark and Norway. Sweden was exporting quite a lot of its natural resources into Germany. That was always the case, and during the war it grew in importance, especially because Germany owned a number of metal and coal mines in Sweden. They were located in the northern part of Sweden, and it was actually a plan that the Allies formed, which was to send a contingent that would aid Finland, but instead, once it passed through Norway, it would attack Sweden from the north and make sure that these rare resources, or common resources, whatever you want to call them, would not be transported to Germany. This, however, never happened because Finland sued for peace with Soviet Union, and Germany took over Denmark and Norway shortly after that, making sure that Sweden was completely cut from the world by losing the access to the Norwegian ports. Now that again put it deeper into the sphere of influence of Germany, and it even allowed the passage of troops from Norway to Finland at a certain occasion, giving access to its railways and exporting even more goods into Germany. However, later on, when it became obvious that Germany is not going to win the war, Sweden has started covertly aiding the Allies, training troops in its territory, and even giving access to its airfields during the final stages of the war. So while Sweden remained neutral throughout the war, officially they got involved in more than one occasion. This was also kind of interestingly... I don't know how to say it, but there was also a big military buildup in Sweden throughout the war. I don't want to say that it was related to it. It's kind of a separate issue. When the situation in Europe started getting worse and worse, even in 1936, the budget of Sweden started rising, peaking somewhere around 1942, when it was somewhere like 20 times of what it was in 1935. So Sweden managed to build quite an army for itself, and when Germany occupied Norway, they even built, or I'm not sure if they finished, but they were building quite a lot of fortifications along the border with German Reich, because they were afraid of a possible attack. Now again, I'm jumping from point to point here, but it's kind of a hard topic to see which things were connected to which things, which were influenced by other things, and which were completely separate and just pertained to the inner politics of Sweden. So bear this in mind when you hear me jump from topic to topic. I'm trying to give out the biggest points from my notes. Now, what we're going to do in this playthrough is going to be something completely different. As I mentioned, Germany has invaded Denmark and Norway and as you know, it was aided by Finland during its invasion of Soviet Union. What we're going to do here is we are going to go fully fascist with Kingdom of Sweden. As a continuation of the previous playthrough, we are again going to side with Germany, trying to take Denmark and Norway before Germany can take control of these areas. That should allow us to reform the Kalmar Union, and depending on whether Finland will join Germany or not, we are going to invade them, and then we are going to aid during the fight in Soviet Union. So yeah, we are going to be a big ally to Germany, hopefully, even though, as before, our resources will be very limited. We will have probably quite a low amount of manpower, and later on we will struggle with everything resource-wise, manpower-wise, and politically-wise as we did before. But again, you know, different mechanics, a different starting situation, and we are going to be even more belligerent than before, so maybe we will be useful. Who knows? Who knows? So after this general introduction, I would like to invite you to the game now. Let's inspect what we will be working here with, and I'm gonna show you a couple of things that I already marked for myself. And yeah, I guess that's all. Let's jump in there and see what I have prepared for you. So here we are in the game, World Ablaze. I'm not going to go through the changes to the economy, to tech trees, and to combat. We are going to see that once we play, and I am familiar with most of the changes, enough anyway to inform you when they come into play. So what kind of situation we start with? Sweden, as previously, is a peaceful democratic nation, which we will need to change pretty quickly. We need to increase the influence of NSB, which is a fascist party of Sweden. This will allow us to start being belligerent, attack our neighbors, and take control of various areas. That is the starting political point. Now, how are we going to achieve that? Well, there is a very good minister for this who is called Tobias Björk. He is a fascist demagogue who gives us extra political power gain of 10% and daily fascist support of 0.1, which is pretty good. Meaning that by 1948 we should be able to turn fully fascist. Now, I'm not entirely sure how fast we are going to reach that, but I know from other playthroughs of the mod that once you start boosting the fascist regime, a lot of extra options open up to you. This will be important because our first elections will be in September 1936, and the next elections thus in 1940, which is way into the war, and it would be a bit too late to change anything by then. But if we get strong enough support for our fascist party, we can overthrow the government at any point. Once you get, I think, over 20%, you can initiate a civil war, and once you get over 50%, you can take over the power without the civil war. So that's going to be our primary goal. Now, we can get Tobias pretty quickly, even though our political power is just 2 per day. Actually, it's going to be 1 per day if we use our national focuses, but we can start with political effort, which is going to, in 70 days, give us 120 political power and putting us on this path. So that is one of the most important things that we need to do here, and that we are going to start with right off the bat. Now, as far as national spirits go, we are a member of the League of Nations, which actually increases our war goal tension limit by 50%. We get additional 100% from being democratic. So when you look at, for example, the justification against Norway, which is something that we need to do, we would need a world tension at 100% to be able to justify anything. So leaving the League of Nations and going fascist is the only way that we can actually do anything other than defend ourselves. We also have Svensk Tiger, which increases war goal time on us by 20% and gives us ideology drift defense of 10%. If Sweden is to be like a tiger on the prowl, then those who spy on us must not know what we do. In these times of conflict and strife, it is the patriotic duty of every Swede to keep silent. We also have the neutral foreign policy, which means that we have 100% joint faction tension limit by 100%, send volunteers tension limit by 20%, and guaranteed tension limit by 100%. This one will go away, I believe, once we go through the... Is it the nationalism focus? I think so. It's kind of funny because we have the generic focus tree here, which does not give us a lot of options. But we'll go through the political effort, then wait until we can get the collectivist ethos, which will require... it will require the fascist party's ruling, so we can actually do that on a very late in the game, roughly by 1938 would be my guess. Then we're gonna go with the nationalism focus, which gives us extra fascism support. But again, that will allow us to switch that minister out. And then here in militarism, we remove the neutral foreign policy. So that is something that we need to strive for next. So this is pretty much the political thing that we will go with. The military youth, paramilitarism, and so on will be nice bonuses, but they will require further investigation. And yeah, these are pretty good, but they do not set us on our path. This 4 will be what we need to go through as fast as possible. In the meantime, we are going to But in the meantime, we are going to go through the industrial effort, infrastructure effort, construction effort, and construction effort 2, gaining some more factories, and also through the army effort, aviation effort, and naval effort, in hopes that we can get some extra things here. But again, the industry is going to be a primary focus for us while we build up. Now, there is a couple of things that I want to speak about as far as industry goes. Let's start by looking at the construction. We got 24 civilian factories, available are 10, which is not even enough for a one full factory. How fast are we going to build these? Let's see, who has the highest infrastructure? You do. So if we build something in here, it is going to take quite a lot of months. Okay, this is going to be modified significantly because Sweden has quite a lot of resources to export. That is going to be our main focus early on. They added a number of nice things here, like coal and iron. As you can see, we do not have enough coal, but we do have a lot of iron. And I think that later on we can also develop the bauxite mines. To get steel, you actually need to have enough coal and enough iron, which will allow you to produce steel. They added a nice little thing here where steel mills consume resources and you need to balance everything out, and then you get the much needed steel. You can see that we also have tungsten and we have chromium, which will be very valuable for Germany. I'm pretty sure they will start buying our resources pretty quickly. Unfortunately, we don't have any oil, aluminum, or rubber, or I think that we can get the bauxite mines later on, but yeah, I think we need something to open that up. As far as, or actually maybe we can see that. Wait, that's infrastructure. How can I display again? Here I can see it, right? No, it's not the resources. Well, we are going to investigate what other resources they have later on. Wait, trade. Here I can see it. Oh wow, Norway has just tungsten and iron and a bit of chromium. Finland has chromium, iron, some coal and some... Oh wow, I was actually expecting them to have more. And Denmark has nothing. Okay, cool. So we're going to be an iron ore powerhouse, as it seems. And also tungsten. No aluminum nearby. Okay. But there is a lot of buildings that we can build. There is a steel mill, aluminum smelter. Okay, for that, for aluminum you need bauxite. Okay. Hydropower steel mill, that's fine. Aluminum smelter. So we will need to import bauxite if we want aluminum and we can actually smelt that. Or we can just decide to import the aluminum as it is and use it. Though, as usual, our options for imports will be pretty limited once the war breaks out. Okay, so that is industry, and as I mentioned, these imports are going to greatly boost our factory count, which will be good for us as we progress. In the beginning, I'm going to focus purely on civilian factories because we need to build up our economy so that we can later on build the military factories. You can see that we have quite a lot of slots. We have 3 here, 4 here, 7. Yeah, we would definitely have quite a lot of areas where we can build our military factories later on. At this point, as far as production of equipment goes, we have 12 military factories. We're going to focus on just the basic equipment. Some artillery, some rifle support equipment. We don't really have that much in the way of armies. We basically got 2. Well, actually, no, not even 2. We have one useful military unit, which is called Armefordelning. It is comprised of 2 units of regular infantry and 4 units of light infantry. The game here is making quite a distinction between infantry and light infantry. They have different stats and require different types of equipment, which is pretty interesting concept. I believe they also have a different modifiers in various areas. Yep. And as we will have smaller specialized units, it's going to be quite important for us to switch to fully infantry to utilize the manpower as well as we can right off the bat. But it's going to be a bit more expensive. Well, what can we do? As far as artillery goes, it is good, but I'm not sure we're going to include it in our units, and we don't have any support battalions starting up anyway, so this is pretty much what we have. We do have a ton, or at least as I noticed, a ton of these support units, which are called Militärumråde, which is sort of a support light infantry cavalry division. Very weak, but I think we might use these as sort of a patrol later on the coastal regions. But the only one that's actually useful for us is the regular infantry. So we're going to try to build up on those. They do have some support artillery, so we'll need to start producing those. But yeah. One thing that I actually find really interesting, and I'm not sure if this is by design or choice, we do not have any tanks. And we can't actually produce any tanks. This is not due to research, because there are some armor types here, but these give you nothing. I do not know why that is, if they just didn't finish up the mod, but yeah, we just can't build any armor of our own design. However, I do not find that that much big of a deal because we can strike deals and then negotiate with Germany. This is fairly historical because Sweden started with just light infantry support tanks that they imported from various areas, even from Czechoslovakia, for example. And later on, they imported other tanks from around the world. Now, I'm not gonna lie, they did design and produce some of their own tanks, but I'm pretty much completely okay with importing German tanks. Considering that we have only 3 research slots here, it is actually going to be a bit easier for us to manage this on the basis of Germany researching everything and us importing it. So yeah, I'm gonna find my way around that issue this way. This is also not the case for any other equipment that I saw. We have our own airplanes which we can build, and these all work, giving us what we need. We can build our own navy, which is also pretty cool. We can get artillery, so everything here seems to be working perfectly. It is just that we cannot import for some, well, we cannot research our own tanks. There is actually one option why we are maybe going to do this, and that is to eliminate the penalty for technology difference. I ran a little test scenario where I let Germany research a couple of tanks, and as far as I understand, we get 20 option decrease per tech difference, per tech. I don't know how that would be calculated because we do not have a tank for every year. So I'm not sure how it would compare it, but basically what I understood is that, for example, this would be 1 tech difference, and that would cost us 20 in opinion. Germany has default 500 with us, meaning that we can import quite a lot of advanced tanks, but later on when the war begins, we might want to research a couple of these to eliminate the penalty, even if we are not going to build our own tanks. We can research the armored cars, which is good, and we can research the mobile infantry. So is it called mobile infantry? Oh, motorized infantry, sorry, my brain doesn't function very well. We can go all the way up to here, but again, we have just like 3 armored cars here, so this one will be pretty good at the start of the war. Later on, we're just gonna have to focus on imported goods. But again, you know, more political bickering with Germany, I am all for that. And I expect that, you know, our neighbor Norway will have pretty much the same issue, but they won't be able to import any tanks at all because they will not know how to do it. So pretty good for me. So we've covered the political situation. As far as research goes, we are going to start by focusing on industry fully. We need to get some industry going. As you can see here, this gives additional bonus to manufacturers in the state. We're starting sort of a lackluster with not having a lot of technologies that we should have. So it is going to be a priority for us to reach these extra research slots as fast as possible, because we can get 2 extra here. I'm not sure if we will be able to get anything else. Well, we can get some technology sharing here once we are later down the line. And I'm pretty sure that we will be able to utilize the political power after we researched every focus or gained every national focus. So not really worried about that. But yeah, the 2 extra research slots, I think these are all 70 days. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So roughly 2 years we will gain access to the extra research slot. That's pretty good. Okay, what about the Air Force? Well, we have a couple, actually 2 wings of multi-role fighters. One is slightly weaker. What are you? Interwar fighter. Okay. So we do have some Air Force, and we do have some... Are these carrier naval bombers? Interesting. So do we have a carrier? I haven't checked the Navy at all before I started the playthrough, so we can check it now. I don't think that they should have any carriers. So what do we have here? Navy was a big thing for us in the previous World War I playthrough, so I'm hoping that we're gonna be able to do a lot with this Navy as well. Certainly it would aid Germany if we could sink as many of the Royal Navy ships as possible. Okay, these are slightly better, and they are all of the same Destroyer 1 class. Okay. Destroyer 1 class. Okay, so they are fairly simplified. We have some heavy cruisers here. 3 heavy cruisers, some light cruiser, and some destroyers. 2 more heavy cruisers. 2 more heavy cruisers, and a couple of submarines. And heavy cruiser, light cruiser, and a couple of submarines. Okay, so it looks like we have... that's 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 submarines and a bunch of ships. 18 ships and 10 submarines then. That's pretty good, I guess, to start with. We'll have to reform the Navy as we did before. How many naval dockyards do we have? Not many, 7 actually, so that might require some tinkering. And we have a couple of submarines in production. Heavy cruiser class 1. Okay. So these are all up to date, it seems, because there really isn't much. Destroyers, submarine 2. Do we have any submarine 1s? We do. Okay. So we'll have 2 ship types here for the submarines and a couple for, you know, what, cruiser and heavy cruiser. Okay, and we probably have some destroyers 1s and destroyers 2, right? Destroyer 1. No, we have just destroyer 1s. But we do have access to destroyer 2, if I'm reading this correctly. Yep, we do. Okay, cool. Wait, is that... Yeah, it's a destroyer 2. Okay, so we have the original ones which we built, and here we have access to destroyers 2. Okay, pretty cool. Though these would be preferably retrofitted with extra fire control, that's gonna be pretty good for us. Nice, and the heavy cruiser as we have seen it before. Good, good, good. So as far as research goes here, we are, wow, okay, we are far behind. We have the coastal battleship here, and then battleship 1. So we have no battleships, that's interesting. All of the original ones, I guess, were scuttled after our First World War, and here are some more submarines. So we might want to delve into submarines a bit more. Surface detection, sub-visibility goes down, and we might... This is what, 1940... Wait, what? Oh, okay, so this is 1940, that's quite far. Well, getting a better destroyer before we start building those would be preferable, and that would give us a new gun as well, so I think that we might go... Damn, we might go all the way up to Destroyer 4 if we get those extra research slots eventually, before we start major boosting of our navy. Because I mean, we are, wow, we are behind on tech significantly, even on fighters. Damn, okay, that's a bit rough. At least you get the, no, that's a oh, okay, that's a pre-war, but still fine. Still fine. And as far as artillery goes, yeah. Okay, so still, we are going to focus on research and civilian industry while we build up politically, but this puts a bit more light on what we need to do. We'll need to finish those submarines and see if we can design them slightly better. That's the production. Where are they? Submarine 2. Sub-visibility 22. They got some torpedo tubes here, which... Wait, what? Why did... No, they do... Are they fixed? I mean, I can't change those. Obviously, these are hard-coded then. Yeah, I can change anything else. So submarines, I guess, are hard-coded. There's nothing I can do with that. Interesting. So that means that the next submarine would be a priority for us, because visibility 22 is not that bad, but if we can lower it further, yeah, 2 would be a big difference. Okay, and we do not have a carrier, so it's kind of interesting that we got carrier naval bomber. Okay, cool. I mean, why would we not have those? Tactical bombers. Yeah, we got these naval bombers. But I mean, they might be... Oh, yeah. Okay, so this is a variant. So we're building the carrier naval bombers, but then we can just go with the naval bombers, because that's going to be... I mean, having these ports under control and being able to patrol the coast with our ships and probably hitting ships with the naval bombers will be a big part of our help to Germany, protecting their flank. Jesus Christ, I can already see United Kingdom bombing the ever-loving hell of us. I'm hoping that we'll be able to protect ourselves using fighters. Yeah, these fighters are going to be a big priority for us. I just realized that. We'll need to control this area meticulously, otherwise we're gonna get bombed in oblivion. Okay, so we have spoke about research, we have spoke about military, we spoke about navies, we spoke a bit about trade, which is going to boost us. Now, what about the officer corps and everything? I haven't really checked our advisors or anything. There are some pretty nice ones here. Yeah, like the operative source. One of the things that I haven't done before was creating the agency, and I know it's very expensive here. So that's one of the points why I want to boost our civilian industry, so we can at least get a rudimentary agency up, and later on we can probably boost it by getting extra operatives and just putting them on defense, making sure that we are not getting rioted into oblivion. And as far as our military, yeah, we have... Okay, we do not have any army theorists at all. And as far as military high command goes, we got 4 here. Okay, so our range of officer corps is fairly limited. There's not much we can do with that. As far as land doctrines go, there is quite a lot of them here, but we have none. Okay, that's also pretty good to note. We'll need quite a lot of naval army and air experience to get up to the task, but everything else is available here. And as far as logistics go, we are not doing good. We are missing quite a lot of equipment right off the bat, so we'll need to reinforce our units and then start turning them into a bit more. Yeah, I'm wondering if we shouldn't follow Germany and with something like this. Maybe something like this. That would make our soft attack much higher, but the breakthrough is going to be a nightmare. How would the... Yeah, artillery would greatly increase the soft attack here again. So we need to probably follow the same strategy as last time, create a couple of breakthrough units, preferably using tanks. I know we do have some tanks available, but those are... Yeah, these are just the white tanks. These were historically... I think that these original tanks that we would be able to produce right now, which are called... Yeah, the Strijdwagen. These were based on tanks that I think Germany used during World War I, so they are definitely not something that we want to... Yeah, even the scout cars have more breakthrough. Really? Yeah, the scout cars has way more breakthrough. So it would make sense, I guess, to design a completely new unit here based around scout cars. Something like this. How many? We would need 75 of those. But the breakthrough would be 30, and we could connect them with infantry. And a fairly... How much else of the attack do you add? 7. And you're adding... Yeah, the scout cars would be way better if we added the scout car recon, some support artillery and engineering company. This would be way better in attack than whatever we have available right now. So something like that will need to happen. So yeah, focusing on armored cars is going to be one of our early priorities. Not to mention maybe getting this one, which will greatly increase its breakthrough. Damn! Okay, so you are quickly moving up in my priority list. Well, but again, we will start importing the tank blueprints from Germany. So okay, we have managed to define the next steps for most, if not all, of our sections. I'm not sure if we are going to get some extra options here other than what we already have, but our first war preparation after we turn fascist will be to invade Norway, and then we are going to invade Denmark. Norway has way more civilian factories and way less military, so they will be at a... Yeah, they are way weaker than we are. They have pretty much the same amount of civilian factories, but they have way less military, and Denmark is even worse. I'd be willing to sacrifice Denmark and leave it to Germany rather than Norway, so we're gonna focus on that first, because we don't want them snatching up the precious Norwegian coast from us. Okay, so I guess we decided on our plans for the near future. We're just gonna gently turn fascist. We are going to join our bigger brother here. Hopefully Italy will join them as well. And by the time they will demolish Poland, I'm hoping that we will already have Norway and we will prepare for the attack on Denmark, freeing up Germany to focus completely on France and the Yugoslavian issue here with Italy. And then we are going to prepare for a possible attack on either Finland, depending on what's going to happen with them. They have a big focus tree though, they're going to be nasty to fight. Or if they join the Axis, we are going to aid them in their attack against Soviet Union. Cool, so our plan is clear. The introduction I consider finished. I'm going to end the episode here, and in the second episode we are going to put everything in motion. So thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you there.